Beautiful, isn't it, partner? It's like a symphony of destruction. What if I told you that this is an ancient Japanese art of taking something perfect that makes you feel insecure and smashing it with a hammer? You're right, I lied. But there is a related art form called Kintsugi, which is taking broken ceramics, like this one, and putting it back together like Humpty Dumpty, and highlighting the fractures with gold. And many argue that the result is even more beautiful or more perfect than the original. And look, I guess I should make a confession.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mr. Royber, and I am a perfectionist. It's true.
Sometimes I can't even finish films like the ones you're watching right now because I'm always worried that it's never going to be good enough. What's that, wife? You think that maybe this art of Kintsugi can help me to break down perfectionism and realize that perfection is just not realistic because it isn't practical, it isn't objective, and it isn't authentic? Huh. Well, that sounds like a thesis, partner. I guess there's only one way to find out. Let's make a film about it. Hopefully we actually finish. In a lot of situations, I am actually really thankful to be a perfectionist because it yields consistent, high-quality work. And look, sometimes things need to be perfect or bad things happen, right? Have you ever heard of the Boeing 737 MAX? But as a general strategy, perfection is just not practical a lot of the time. And as I was doing this Kintsugi, I thought of some examples. Do you remember doing timed 5-paragraph essays in high school? I hated these because there was always this moment of panic when the teacher would give a 5-minute warning to start wrapping things up. And I'd look down and I'd realize I was still halfway through the second paragraph. Because, look, this was my strategy for writing. Write a sentence, reread it, realize it could be better, rewrite it, rinse, repeat half a dozen times. You know, I don't ever think I actually finished one of these timed essays. And look, this caused me to fail the AP English exam. So there were consequences. And now that I'm thinking about it, I think maybe one of the problems that I have sometimes is getting tunnel vision, right? Focusing on the details and not keeping the big picture in mind. Maybe I'm not recognizing or working within practical constraints. And this sometimes causes me to fail. Which is funny because I'm doing something similar right now. You see, partner, I am not doing real Kintsugi. That's a lot of work, and it requires the kind of meticulous effort and perfection, ironically, to actually pull it off well. I got this instant gratification Kintsugi kit, which is just super glue and gold paint. And look, that should be fine, right? Because the goal here, the big picture, is to make a film about perfectionism. But the perfectionist in me got tunnel vision. And in a quest to make a more perfect art, right, he rejected the practical constraints given to me by the kit. Super glue? That's too easy. I bet if I mixed this paint in with some epoxy, I could get a more aesthetic look. And look, that totally failed. And now I've opened this big can of worms, right, that is just distracting me from my actual goal. So I think the first lesson that I need to learn is how to start recognizing my constraints and working within them. Because perfectionism isn't always practical. Here's a thought experiment. What does the perfect key look like? It's a meaningless question, right? Without more context. What are you trying to unlock? And since we're all trying to unlock different doors in life, perfection, the perfect key, is going to look different for all of us. So perfection is not objective. Let's do some more Kintsugi. So, why am I perfectionist? I'm guessing some of it has to be genetic because both of my parents show similar patterns of behavior. But some psychologists think that another major factor is the fear of being rejected by our peers. And I think that could be true in my case. I definitely feel this strong desire to satisfy everyone. Here's an embarrassing fact. For the first 3 years of high school, I didn't have a single girlfriend. And it wasn't because I didn't want one. I was friends, or I tried to be friends, with just about everyone. And every day during lunch, I would hang out with a different clique. Right? The band geeks, the stoners, the jocks, the science nerds, even the kids who played Magic the Gathering. I liked them all. Each group was like a beautiful flower, and I'd fly from one to another like a carefree butterfly. Only it wasn't so carefree, because I came to realize that it didn't matter who you were. There was always someone somewhere talking smack about you behind your back. And look, maybe I felt like I just couldn't make this major life decision, like having a girlfriend, when I knew exactly who I was going to disappoint. You see what happens, partner? I try to be friends with all of you, and I just become this neurotic mess. So here's a rhetorical question. Is there such thing as a perfect boyfriend or girlfriend? How long should I wait around for one to come by? So after experimenting with these two different techniques, I decided that I liked this one better. My wife, on the other hand, liked this one. So which one should I use on the next piece? Well, the perfectionist in me is telling me, well, why don't you just spend the next 30 minutes being indecisive, right? Or better yet, sleep on it. Forget about it, partner, right? There is no perfect solution. Just like there is no perfect high school girlfriend. So I might as well just pick the one that I like best. And so I think that the fear of rejection, right, the fear of disappointing other people can have this paralyzing effect on me sometimes. And so the second lesson that I really need to learn is that I truly cannot please everyone, because perfection is not objective. You know, I think the best part about this whole process so far is that it helps you to kind of disentangle these two concepts, beauty and perfection. They're not the same thing, right? Because we always want beauty, don't we? But we don't always want perfection. And I think that's because it's just not authentic. Here in Washington State, there are these beautiful forests. But I've never accused one of being too beautiful. On the other hand, we also have acres and acres and acres of man-made forests, where every tree is planted at the perfect interval apart, and each one grows perfectly straight and perfectly symmetrical. And I remember the first time I drove by one of these, I felt really uneasy. I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone, or Minecraft, or SimCity. I thought to myself, that forest is just too perfect. You're suspect, forest. And I think this also applies to people, right? I mean, sure, we all want to look like a beautiful celebrity, but do we trust those people? No. Listen, lady. There are parts of your body that are just way too perky for a woman your age. And you are trying way too hard to sell me that toaster. I don't trust you. I don't trust your pyramid schemes. I don't trust your magic bracelets. And I sure as shit don't trust your app that claims it can teach my cat to use the toilet. Because some things are just too good to be true. Why am I trying to be one of these people? Help me think about this, partner. I think perfectionism, right, the need to appear perfect in front of the people around us, might be a self-defeating proposition. Right? Because if one of my major goals is to be loved and admired and accepted by everyone around me, and they actually prefer natural beauty, right, authenticity to perfection, then shouldn't I actually highlight some of these cracks, these faults, like in this owl, that signal to them indefinitely?
Did I say indefinitely? I meant definitively.
Some of these faults that signal to those around me that I am a human being and not a fucking robot. And yet, I try to cover all of them up. So, I don't know, but maybe the third lesson that I need to learn is that perfection is not always what people want, because it's just not authentic. Perfectionism has its benefits, but it doesn't seem like it's a good general strategy for life. And I waste a lot of time trying to make so many things perfect that just don't need to be. Right? Did I need to repark the car 2 extra times to be more parallel? Is spending another 10 minutes on my hair going to make a more convincing film about the perils of perfectionism? For me, the real beauty in this Kintsugi process was coming to the realization that perfection doesn't map onto reality. It's not practical, it's not objective, and it's not authentic. So I hope this has been helpful for you. And I don't know if it's going to cure my perfectionism, but the next time I get stuck in this mindset, I'm going to try to ask myself these 3 questions. 1, is perfection within my constraints? 2, will it please everyone? And 3, is it what people actually want? And if the answer is no, partner, I just need to act. Right? Because it would be a crying shame if I just never reached those big goals that I've set for myself. All because I got fixated on the wrong thing, right? Or just got paralyzed with fear. Or just went off chasing some impossible standard and just ran out of time.